gentlemen, boys and girls, Buckeye fans of all ages, the Ohio podcast proudly brings you the Buckeye Lounge. Today we have a special pre-recorded show sponsored by mybookie.com. If you want to do a little gambling, go to mybookie, put in the promo code Ohio, and you'll get $500 insurance for bad plays. They will refund you. So your first $500 bets, if they're bad, you get refunded. So today we have very special guests, Mr. Dave Ost and Mr. Tim Williams. Welcome to the show, guys. I'm the host, Sean Schrock, and my co-host, the Wolverine Slayer herself, TG. Welcome to the Ohio Podcast Buckeye Lounge.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Thanks, TG.
Hey,
We love having guests like you guys on to tell you stories. We're so interested in listening to them.
We got some stories to tell, that's for sure.
you know, guys, we've had offensive guys on here. We've had defensive guys on here. Probably we've had, you know, you guys' old teammate, Mr. Greg Fry, was on here.
Yeah.
This is our first time having a specialist. I mean, we decided to have some special teams guys today. So, Tim, Dave, why don't you guys tell everybody how you guys became Buckeyes? How you got recruited, where you guys were from, and was there any other schools that you were looking at? Basically, how you became a Buckeye.
Well, Tim, you start.
Okay, well, I'll go first. I'm from Waynesville, Ohio. I went to Waynesville High School. I guess as a freshman, growing up, I played soccer and always had a strong leg. And my dad actually brought home a football when I was in the 6th grade and decided that let's see how you do with this. So we did it. It was fun. That was the key, is that it was fun, challenging. And then we started going out to the football field, and I tried it in the 7th grade. I tried to play, and I think I made one extra point in the 7th grade. I also played quarterback, too. So did not play in the 8th grade. I had acne all over my face, so I took Accutane, and one of the things that happens when you take Accutane, you get weak joints. So I had weak knee joints. Wasn't able to play much at all in the 8th grade. Started kicking for the varsity my freshman year. I think in the second game, I kicked the first field goal in Waynesville history.
Wow.
And then went on to my senior year, hit a 57-yard field goal, which at that time was the longest in the state of Ohio.
Dang.
So which was really cool. But I didn't really know as a freshman in high school that I wanted to play college football. So my sophomore year, I had in one game against Clinton Massey in the first half, I had a 46 and a 52. So that kind of got me thinking, and because everybody else was saying, you know, hey, you might be able to go somewhere and play, set my sights on Notre Dame. And the reason, there's a reason there. Mm-hmm. We played in the 6th grade. We played in front of, right before a University of Kentucky and Notre Dame soccer game. We played the game right before it. And after the game, the Notre Dame players invited us to go and eat with them. So I fell in love with Notre Dame from the 6th grade on. I was a big basketball fan. David Rivers, the point guard. Dave remembers him. So I followed Notre Dame. So I thought, what the heck? If I can play college football, let's go play Notre Dame.
Sure.
So I don't know. Things happened the way they did. I went to a camp the summer before my senior season at Ohio State, and I did really, really well, to a point that they started recruiting me pretty heavily. And I was also being recruited by Notre Dame, and ended up Coach Zook and Coach Cooper came to the house, offered me a full ride, and I couldn't say no to that. So that's basically how I became a Buckeye. Fell in love with it.
Can you let everybody know, because we do have some younger fans, what years you guys played?
In college, so in high school, we both graduated high school in 89.
Okay.
And then I redshirted in 89, in the fall of 89, and then started 90, 91, 92, 93.
Okay.
Dave's story really is the coolest story that there is. Now, we've all seen the movie Rudy, right?
Yeah.
The guy wasn't very well received. We had a special teams coach when we were at Ohio State, Mike Stock, who actually was on staff at Notre Dame when Rudy played.
Okay.
And are we allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, just don't say the F word or
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But Coach
Yeah,
Stock
like
said,
it's
Coach Stock
family
said that-
friendly, but
Coach
you
Stock-
can curse.
Coach
A little
Stock
bit.
said that movie Rudy was horseshit.
Okay. Hey,
That's his words. That's his words.
you guys know Mike Wargo.
Oh yeah.
Actually, the guy who runs the Ohio podcast, his name's Eric Boggs. He's actually going to write Mike's autobiography.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, being the Ohio State Rudy.
I think it was Penn State in '93 when Mike goes out and he's the only clean uniform on the field. You remember that, Dave?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mike was a great guy. He is a fantastic guy.
Eric Boggs' cousin is Ryan Miller. So
I got you.
okay.
I got you.
Our
So
favorite
I go through.
Allen Park Jaguar, right? Ryan Miller, Allen Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Allen Park, Michigan.
Yep.
He married Jack Thrush married his sister.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
so.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Connection there. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's my story. And then I go on, I'm the starter 90, 91, 92, and I have Kirk Herbstreit was my holder, right? There's another funny story in there with Greg Fry involved, but Herbie, oh yeah, I will tell it later.
Okay.
But in 92, I missed a kick against Illinois. Same game that Eddie George had 3 fumbles.
Mhm.
2 of them were inside the 5, and 1 was picked up and ran back 97 yards for a touchdown. I missed a 44-yard field goal at the end of the game. The final score was 18-16 them.
Ooh.
And that was the year Herbstreit was starting at quarterback. I didn't get much time with him. I didn't feel comfortable. So I went to Coach Cooper right after that game, and I just said, I got to have a change. I got to have – we had our punter that year was Joel Kessel.
Okay.
So Joel held for me for the rest of the year. I wish he would have held the whole year. And then he was a senior. So then now we'll enter into Dave's story.
Okay. Well, wait. In Kirk's defense, remember he had a high ankle sprain.
Oh, yeah.
3rd or 4th week of the season. So getting down in that stance had to have been painful.
Sure.
So, back you up, I guess, to 1989. I'm friends with a couple of guys from Akron who played, and going over to Lincoln Tower. I meet Tim freshman year, and I played at Revere High School in Akron, and we had, not a great player, but what I took pride in is we always had good kickers, and I was a good holder. So here's Tim, we're meeting over in the dorms or whatever to party, and he and I have a connection there because, we like to talk kicking and holding and specialists and all that stuff. So we met, that was probably fall of freshman year. And then I remember in the winter, Tim, maybe I offered, maybe Tim said, hey, let's go over to the Woody Hayes facility and kick. And he's got his bag of balls over there in his locker, and we go over there. And to me, growing up in Ohio, like I said, I wish I could play at Ohio State. It was an absolute dream, but it just, it didn't fit. There wasn't a good fit there. So I just went to Ohio State just to go to Ohio State. My 2 older sisters had gone there. It's where I dreamed of going to school, dreamed of playing football. But like I said, that wasn't going to happen. So I go over to Woody Hayes Athletic Center with Tim one Saturday, and holy cow, this place is great. And we go into the indoor field and just, hit balls,
That's fun.
Balls I go retrieve. Because, I understand what a life of solitude a kicker and punter lives, basically. Because I lived it with my buddies in high school that there's, they go out with a bag of balls, they got a little tee, they kick, they go retrieve 5 balls, they come back, they kick them again, and all that stuff. So I was happy to go do it. It was a really cool experience for me. Tim and I got to be better friends, over the next couple of years. And then that's when he figured out that, Kirk was a year older than we were. And he knew he needed to Tim needed a plan for when Kirk was going to, be done holding. And eventually Kirk won that starting quarterback job, and that became pretty important, obviously. And it took his time doing that. So Tim went to Coach Cooper, and it was a long story. Tim's told this story a gazillion times, and
Let me tell about that part real quick. So
okay,
I
sure.
go,
Yeah, because I
and to
wasn't
start
there.
off, I had a really good relationship with Coach Cooper. I mean, Coach Cooper trusted me. It was fantastic, and it's still there today. I mean, in terms of Dave and I got to see him at the practice that the former players were invited to go back to. 88 years old, still going strong. I've played golf with him many times over the years. So I go in his office and I say, Coach, I got a problem. What's that? I said, well, I don't have a holder for my senior year. And I said, there is this guy. His name is Dave Oast. He has been coming over with Jim Borchers, who's our starting long snapper. And I said, Coach, I'll be honest with you. I can't miss. I don't miss when Dave is in. I don't. He is that good. And Coach Cooper looked at me and he said, if there's someone out there that can help his football team, I want him out here. So he says, just go through all the checks. Make sure you go through the academic check, get him a physical, all of that. And then here we are.
Oh.
Yeah, that's basically how it happened. And it was kind of funny because, was that 93 in fall camp?
No, I came on January of 92 because I played the 92 season and the 93 season.
Right.
So,
but was only the holder in 93.
Right. I was the backup in 92.
92, they weren't having it because Herbie was there. So we kind of, So Dave figures, if I'm here, I might as well do all I can, right? So we have a hamburger drill the first day of pads when they get in.
I remember that in high school.
Yeah. Dave thinks it's a good idea. I'll just go out here and get some reps in. I'll let these guys tackle me. Dave, you wanna take it from there?
Well, are you talking about the one where?
Yep.
Yeah, the one. So it's one of those where receivers are out wide against defensive backs, tight ends are against defensive ends. The fullbacks are inside with the guards and all that stuff. So there's offense going against defense. They're one-on-one, and they start down at the one side and blow the whistle, and it's one-on-one. A receiver blocking a DB with a receiver running behind his teammate, and the defensive guy's trying to shed and make the tackle, and you only have like 3 feet probably. So I'm out there with the receivers, no problem, and just. Coach Hollis is running the drill. He's the one blowing the whistle, and it's just rapid fire. Boom, boom, boom. Let's move down and then back this way and all that stuff. Well, they were short in the middle. So, hey, get someone over here. We need a running back here, like over the guard and center. So it's like, okay, sure, I'll do whatever it takes, So I'm hustling over there, and he flips me the ball and throws it at my feet. I go to pick it up, and he's blown the whistle. Like, I mean, it's go time. I'm still picking the ball up. I look up, and we talked about it before. Our buddy Mike Wargo was the guard. And Eddie Wilkinson, who ends up being the number 1 pick in the draft the next year.
Dan Wilkinson.
It's a tackle. I've picked the ball up and looked up. Big Daddy has shucked Wargo off to the side. He's standing there just like steam coming out of his nostrils. And like, everyone's watching. It's like, let's go, and so I go barreling, 5 yards straight. I'm going to, just do what it takes. Well, I go into him. Nothing happens. I mean, he doesn't move, obviously. He literally picks me up and spiked me into the ground. My helmet's over here. I'm just like, oh my God. It did not go well. I mean, it was absolutely brutal. So I straighten up. I'm fine. I go back, and about 5 minutes, I sit out 1 rep, but then about 3 minutes later, it's my turn again. I'm up front. And so now I've got a ball. I'm holding it. Well, who's up again? Big Daddy against Wargo. I'm like, and thank God for Dave Mono, Tim's roommate. Mono's a starting guard and a good player. He comes up. He's like, here, Wargs, you're off to the side. He blocked Big Daddy. At least he didn't kill me that time. Yeah. I didn't score, and I didn't get killed, but it went nowhere. But thank God.
I think I blackballed you from that drill after that day. I wasn't letting him do it anymore.
That didn't go well.
So what position did they have you on like the roster? Just did they have you as a holder, or did they have you like a backup?
First year was just a holder. And then, so at the time, what was it, Tim? 60 players could travel.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to, they weren't going to take up one of the 60 spots for a holder. So after that first season, I guess starting in January, I ended up going into Coach Stock's wide receivers room because he was the special teams coach and I was the only position. I mean, it's what I played in high school, but again, we weren't quite WRU at that time, but we had Joey Galloway, we had Chris Sanders, we had Buster Tillman, Terry Glenn. It was a pretty stacked room, and then me. So I learned, went to meetings, practiced the position to some extent, whatever, to the point where at least I was a position player.
Gotcha.
And I'll never forget, we finally get to mid-August of that senior season before they finally decide, all right, this kid is going to play. Like he will be the holder and he'll travel. And I'll never forget, it changed Coach Cooper's perspective on the game because the guy that didn't travel because I did was a redshirt freshman named Sean Springs.
Oh, geez.
And Sean was a great player, could have helped on special teams, covering, this, that, but a backup. And the reason it changed Coach Cooper's perspective is Sean then redshirted, then played us next year and the year after that, 3 years, and he was gone. So Coach Cooper only got him for 2, though, because he sat the 1 year because Tim needed his team.
I wasn't having it any other way. That was just the way it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I backed it up. I think we backed it up pretty good. 93,
Yeah.
I say but it was a we thing.
Yeah.
We were first team all Big Ten.
So I don't know about that. Tim was
we
That's nice
backed that up.
But we had a good long snapper. Jim Borcher was a great long snapper, and Tim was as experienced as you could get and knew how to kick in every situation. It's a chip shot. It's from the left hash. I mean, he was a student of the game and really understood kicking. I mean, geez, he was the starting punter for 1 or 2 seasons. He did kickoffs. Tim really, he did it all. So it was just awesome working with him because he understood the game so well from that standpoint that, and we enjoyed that back and forth because I loved the game. My dad was a high school coach and I loved the game, so it was
awesome. I wish it could have been that way all 4 years. And had it been, it would have been a different outcome, I think. I really do.
Tim, didn't you hold the record, if I'm not mistaken? Weren't you the highest scorer for a kicker in Ohio State history for a while?
No, I don't think I ever held that one. I held most PATs in a row without a miss.
Is that like 82 or something?
Consecutive. I don't remember the number.
Yeah,
I really don't.
A lot.
And then most field goals in a career.
Okay.
I held that at one point in time. I don't remember who broke mine. I mean, a lot of people
broke that one.
Danny? Yeah, probably Danny.
I think he did because he was 4 years.
And I think I ended up at one point, I don't know, third or fourth on the all-time scoring list. I think I'm now 7th. I think the last time I checked, it was 7th.
Okay.
But I mean, Big Ten championship in '93.
Yeah,
that was a great team.
Which was awesome. Yeah, it was. It really was. It was our, Coach Cooper, our class was Coach Cooper's first full year recruiting class.
Okay.
And I really kind of feel like that's what got the wheels turning. In terms of, Jim Tressel can thank John Cooper for doing such a great job recruiting, which is why he ended up winning the national championship.
That's true. I mean, honestly.
I mean,
that's factual. Yeah, that is
true.
factual.
Yeah. That's actually what makes it pretty amazing. What was it like playing in Ohio Stadium? What was the atmosphere like?
But for me, I mean, I played in a high school where they had never kicked field goal before, right? I mean, 500 people's a lot of people. I mean, that was a big game for us.
Flashing yellow light in the center of town.
Yeah, I mean,
no stoplight at the time. At the time,
yeah.
Now there is.
And this is kind of funny. I got to sit through a year. So Pat O'Mara was a senior in '89. So at the beginning of the year, I knew right off the bat that I wasn't going to play, right? So Pat asked me to coach, which I think is one of the reasons I now have been training kickers for 29 years. So I got to kind of see it, feel it in a uniform without playing for a year, but that still wasn't enough. And in my freshman year in 1990, we opened up with a game against Texas Tech, and that feeling, it just, you can't replace that feeling of running on the field for the first time, of going out and performing and being successful. My first kick was a 32-yard field goal, I believe. And I made it. I didn't hit it great, but it went down the middle and I made it. And after I made it, I got all gung ho, man. I arms up in the air. I was, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. The second half of that game, I miss a 21-yard field goal wide right. Yeah, so like deer in the headlights. And then had a couple other extra points when we beat Texas Tech pretty handily. But then Monday after that game, John Bozick, who was a legendary equipment manager. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that name before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the EQ manager for Woody Hayes, for example. But Bose was an older guy. He was full of knowledge, right? He's full of stories. So we go into lift on Monday after that game, and I'm walking out of the Woody Hayes, or I'm sorry, out of the weight room into the Woody Hayes, and Bozick catches me. And Bose looks at me and he says, "You son of a bitch." He says, "Daggone it." He says, "Don't raise your hands when you kick an extra point. You're supposed to do that stuff." He says, "Act like you've been there before." I mean, he lit me up. Lit me up. And it made sense, right? I mean, I'm supposed to make extra points.
Sure.
Supposed to make field goals. So the next game, we go to Boston College. And our first field goal attempt, we go on the field. There was a bad snap. Herb Street mishandled it. We didn't get it off. We're in the last seconds before halftime, and the ball is on the 35-yard line. And Coach Cooper had made a change. He took Greg Fry out, and he put Kent Graham in at quarterback. So they call a timeout, and they come over to the sidelines, and I'm standing there. I'm like, it's just a 52-yard field goal, right? And so I'm standing right behind Coach Cooper. So they call a timeout. They're talking about, the Hail Mary play they're going to throw. And as soon as the offense started walking back out on the field, jogging out on the field, Coach Cooper turns around, and it's me. I'm right here. And he says, "Timmy, you couldn't have kicked that, could you?" I said, "Coach, it's only a 52. 52? I thought it was a 57. Timeout." So here they come. They pull the offense back off the field. They trot me out. I hit a 52-yard field goal. I went freaking berserk. I was, my second made field goal, and I go nuts. And it was fun, right? As we're jogging and walking in the locker room, the first person I see is John Bozick. And I'm like, oh, shoot. He looks at me and says, "Kid, it's okay to celebrate after those. Great job."
Okay, well, 50+ yardage, yeah, that's understandable.
Oh,
I guess. Like if
right.
you're celebrating kicking a 32-yarder to one,
You're right. But I remembered that from there on. I remembered that, we had a little celebration where we would, like the Top Gun, the Tom Cruise up and down. Herb Street and I did that, and then I made Dave continue it when he helped.
What stadium was the hardest to kick in?
Stadium?
Yeah, what was the hardest field? I mean, in the big that you played in, which was the hardest to kick in?
If you ask me what the loudest crowd was, Dave was there for that. It was Wisconsin.
Not surprised.
Crazy.
Illinois was hard to kick, though. The wind was crazy at Illinois.
Oh, Illinois, but it was going one way or another.
Right. It was with you or against you. It wasn't side.
I think it was 20 miles an hour that year that we played in '93.
The only football game I think I've ever been a part of where we won the toss and elected to kick because we wanted to control we wanted the wind in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
it's the only time we've ever given up the ball that I've ever been a part of.
We had a good game that game. I mean,
Yeah.
we had a 52-yard field goal, and then we had, I think, a 39 to ice the game. Remember that?
Yeah.
At the end of the game.
Well, they had a good kick. Was it Jason Richardson? Was that his name? Their
Yeah.
kicker.
Yeah.
Remember, he was thick.
He was a thick guy.
Yeah, but he was good.
But it was nice to get those kicks in, especially at 39 at the end of the game, because that made them have to score twice.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially after the year that I had missed the 44.
Yeah.
The year before to win it. So
now, did you guys have any fake field goals? Did you get the
Don't
ball
get us
off?
started. we practiced every day. We practiced the same one. Occasionally we had others, but mostly they weren't going to trust me. So Tim would line up. I'd take the snap, and the left wing back, who was Eddie George, as a freshman and sophomore, and he would literally, the left wing back would just roll out. I'd catch the snap, flip it up to him, and he rolls around right end. We practiced it every day, and then maybe mixed in a couple others here and there, but that was the one that we ran all the time. 2 years, we never ran it. We graduate, and the very first game Ohio State played after Tim and I graduated was in the Meadowlands. I think it was against Boston College.
Kickoff Classic.
Yeah, Kickoff Classic in the Meadowlands. And the very first field goal they try, new holders out there, new kicker, take the snap, flip it up to Eddie George, coming around. They run a fake field goal, and he gets 35 yards and a first down. First kick.
His memory is it's a lock in there. I'm telling you, I've never met. He still remembers my birthday every year. It's unbelievable. I don't know how he does it. His memory.
His birthday is January 3rd too.
Wish I had
don't
that
remember
memory.
the play at all. That's great.
I wish I had that memory. I really do.
Yeah, no doubt.
I wish I had that kind of memory where it's a lock of even my own memories. Ain't that
I don't remember what I had for lunch though.
But you can remember 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Too funny.
But honestly, I mean, you guys talk about maybe you guys can help train the current field goal unit because they can use it.
They're doing pretty good. Fielding's off to a pretty good start.
Oh no, I know. I'm talking about more on a consistent basis,
Yeah.
especially with long distance field goals.
Yeah,
Beyond.
hopefully it doesn't come down to that though.
I think Coach Day, I think, is aggressive. We just haven't had that many opportunities over the last really few years, 3 years maybe, since that 50-yarder against Georgia. We really haven't kicked that many 50-yarders because I think
that's because he doesn't trust his kickers too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the analytics go more toward, hey, it's 4th and 4 from the 35-yard line. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Rather than kick that 52-yarder, let's just go for it. So I think the game is changing a little bit that way. But then you watch the NFL, and now they got the kickballs where they're able to, treat them now.
Dude, Dallas has a kicker that can kick it from 66 yards.
We're going to see that record's going to get broken 5 times this year because now they're able to get the balls ahead of time. And remember Tim used to, we take him to sauna. We do.
I took care of all the footballs.
Yeah.
All 4 years actually that I played. That was nice.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, when you see these kickers nowadays, I'm like, you got kickers that can now kick it beyond 60 yards. What are we on today?
The balls. I would liken a lot of it to specialization, but also I think the balls are juiced in the NFL now.
Okay.
With those kick balls.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or you got kickers that are just that good. Because I'm not gonna lie. Because I will say this, because if there's one thing that infuriates me with Ohio State, I'm like, how is our kicker not better than Michigan's?
So these guys are kicking long field goals. It's not like guys haven't always had that kind of leg. It's just now that they're getting these opportunities. I mean, I'm not with a snap and a hold. I had Borchers. I think this was before Dave. I think it was before you. I hit one from 72 on that turf field with a good wind.
Yeah, I think I was there. I think
it was after. It was late in my career, but guys have always been able to hit the ball that far. I mean, the good ones, right?
Here's what I would say. With fielding, he has the leg because I've seen him do it. The problem is he's not consistent or accurate most of
and it all goes back to the Michigan game last year. He misses 2.
Except he actually misses those from within the red zone.
Yeah.
But he did have a tear muscle on his hip that no one
That's
knew
the
about.
other thing, too, though. You're like, okay, was it that tear muscle that really hurt him a lot? And the good thing is, come the Georgia game, not Georgia. I'm thinking Georgia because it was there in the city of Georgia. But come the national title game, he actually kicks the game winning, the game sealing field goal for the So, you made it up, man.
Big hit for him.
That was huge.
No.
Yeah, I'm hoping he can continue, and I hope he can hit those field goals on a consistent basis. Hopefully,
It'll be okay.
And I will say this too. I think one of the things that Ryan Day did decide to do when he got that Ball State kicker who can't kick it from 50, because I've gone back and watched this kid. That kid do got a leg, and that kid is accurate like no tomorrow. So it's I think if just in case if fielding was to get injured again, you got
Yeah.
another kicker who can kick it on a consistent basis
He
instead of
is
relying on
very-
one
yeah,
that got a
he's
Here's-
been very well trained too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact, right? So his name is Jackson Corville,
hmm
and I have trained him since the 7th grade.
TG, you're giving Tim a promo and you don't even know it.
Jackson. So Jackson went to the same high school as Mike Nugent,
Oh, that's awesome.
and he
I'm
broke
gonna-
all of Mike Nugent's high school kicking records. And from a mental and physical standpoint, at this stage where he's at right now, he's the best kid I've ever trained.
Oh, wow.
And now wait, I started with Mike Nugent in the 7th grade as well. So he's got a lot of shoes to fill from this point on, right? I mean, so if Fielding continues to kick the rest of this year, which I expect him to,
He will.
and then Jackson will have 2 years of eligibility after this. So they're very excited to have Jackson.
I swear, when it comes down to it, Ohio State needs to come looking for you for kickers. They do.
I've done
They
it.
do.
I've done it before. I had Drew Basil. Drew Basil was another kid I trained. There's another backstory there that I'm not getting into. I didn't continue training him once he got to Ohio State, but yeah, I started with him, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been
Yeah,
fun.
no, I think if I'm Ohio State, my first thing would be we are going to ask Tim Williams to help us train our kickers and to help us find some good kickers. Because if there's anything that Ryan Day started to learn, is like special teams could cost you if you ain't on point. So
Yeah.
like if you want to have a kicker that you can rely on in the big games to kick the big time field goals, especially to make the field goals you want them to, then actually go look for them. And given the fact that you're so good at it, it's like if I'm Ohio State, you're the first guy I'm asking immediately.
It's not me. It's I've been around. I know how to do it from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Everything I teach is progression oriented. But it's got to be the kid, right? The kid's got to have want to and the desire and the passion and
Yeah, well, I think that's also the other thing too, because I think they're gonna wanna, because from what I understand is they have LaCharles Bentley, because you remember that, Sean? We had all the news about LaCharles, and I think they're gonna start asking him for offensive linemen they could try to get, because I know they did. I know they've been doing that lately. So I think you're going to be the one I think they ask, similar to Charles, as far as does this, like how they do with this offensive lineman, does he fit? Is he worth, like he actually got them to get Phillip Daniels out of the portal because he told them all about Phillip, and like they love him now and kind of regret missing on him on the first time. So
right.
So I think with you, that's what they'll try to do, except with the kickers this time. Like, hey, tell us how good this kicker is. So, does he have the mentality? Does he have the leg? Does he have this and that? Like, does he have what they're asking for? I think is what they're going to ask you to do.
Yeah. Tim's like the Pied Piper down there. You know, he's got any given Sunday, he gets 10, 12 kids down there rotating through, and kickers, punters. He's been doing it for 29 years. He's been doing it.
How many years did
and here's kind of a neat story is that Dave's son figured that, if my dad was able to play football at Ohio State, I certainly can too. So when Nate went to Ohio State as a freshman, he called me and wanted to come down, wanted to learn how to punt. Now Nate's a little bigger than Dave. Dave's what, about 5'11"? What are you, 5'11"?
Almost 6'1".
6
foot now.
6'2".
Yeah, he's 6'2" or so. 6'3".
And Nate came down religiously, and we worked on punting to a point that the kid played. He was an exceptional high school athlete. Played offense and defense, receiver, defensive back, right? Played baseball, played basketball. So he starts working on this.
But had never punted.
Had never punted in high school. So he found some long snappers. I mean, Dave could probably tell the story better, but from my end, it was cool because this kid really wanted to. And here is a college student coming down on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., an hour drive, and working on this stuff. And it ended up getting him to Robert Morris. He is now at Robert Morris playing college football as a punter and did not punt in high school. It's just a cool story. I mean,
if you are, again, the Buckeyes, you need to come talk to Tim Williams. You do. Like, legit.
Well,
get yourself your kickers and your punters in this guy. Because
we've got
when it comes to our punters, like we we literally like the Australia school that we used to go to get punters, like that went downhill. Now we got some guys we got two punters. No, they're solid, but we got two punters where their biggest problem, like McLarty has the leg, but the inconsistencies are there that he needs to work on. And our other punter, it's like he's got to work on some stuff too. Like I think he does need teachings to help him get better at his punting because there's potential there. It's just it ain't consistently good all the time. Like there are times he has big punts, but there are times like it's most of the time it's like
they're not going to be big punts. They won't be big punts.
No, I'm not talking about like big punts, but you know what I mean. Like trying to flip. You know how they say like flip the field.
Flip field. Yeah, that'll never happen. Because when Dave and I went for the former player practice earlier this year, we got to watch them. And it's 42, 43 yards down the field, end over end, right? So a field goal rotation. And about a 4.1, 4.2 hang?
Yeah.
Every single kick.
Their philosophy, they do not want those punts returned. So to kick it 50 yards and get that 4-1 hang time, they're worried that that's going to be a 6, 8, possibly 15, 20-yard return. So they'd rather they want to directionally kick it, get it high, make them call fair catch, and nobody gets hurt. It's all good. So the days where Ohio State wants to kick it 50, 55 yards, I think are probably past with this, the way their philosophy is right now. They don't want to lose a game because of a punt, and they want that operation to be quick. They don't want to get one blocked. So they work on that operation time, and they're very, very precise.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can help McLarty with his consistency, because one of the things I know they're so scared of is his release time because of how slow it is at times, because they're ready could get blocked. So maybe that's something you could definitely help him with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do the end over end kick instead of the spiral. So
okay, now that makes sense. Now I know why the punts are like that. Okay, that makes sense. It's not like these guys can't.
When I punted, I when I was with the Falcons, they had me kick and punt when I went down to Atlanta, and I could hit 5-1, 5-2 hangs with the spiral. You won't see that with an end over end kick because of the aerodynamics of the football, right? But they tried that with these guys, these Australian guys, and they just were so inconsistent that this is what they're best at. And they stuck with it, and it's very consistent. Every punt's 42, 43 yards downfield, 4.1, 4.2 hang. That's it.
Now, how many years did you punt at Ohio State then, Tim?
So my sophomore year, which would have been 91, we recruited a kid named Mike Chrissy from Florida to come up. And Mike was shorter than me. I'm 5'9", and Mike was shorter than me. I didn't understand it. We go into camp in the fall or the summer of 91, and it was quick for me to realize that I'm better than this guy. So I went to Coach Cooper and I said, Coach, I think I can help his team a lot more than Mike can. And I think I can handle both. He said, if you think you can, he says, get out there. And I did. I beat the kid out. Wasn't hard. The first 4 games were kind of rough because, going to the net, that first game against Arizona, I'll never forget. I went out for my first punt. It was around midfield. I forget exactly what yard line it was. It might have been the ball was on the 45, and I'm just thinking, catch this damn ball. Whatever you do, don't drop the ball. So I catch it, and then I hit one, I think, that went into the stands, into the closed end. It was probably the best punt I ever had. It had to have went 60, 65 yards in the air. It was a freaking bomb. But I didn't give a rat's ass. I just wanted to get the ball off. Number one, catch it, get the ball off. Then after that, I was ready to go. But the hard thing for me was going to the net. I ended up going to the net too many times, and my hamstrings were – so the first 4 games was I had to get used to it, right? After that, dude, I was good. I would have I enjoyed it. And then Michigan happened.
Yeah.
And I had the punt to Desmond when he struck the Heisman pose.
Of course.
I didn't want to bring that up, but every time you see it coming on TV, you're just like.
Did you see the special that the Big Ten Network did on it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
They have the Big Ten does these segments. They're called Big Ten Moments.
Yeah.
I think they did one on the 2002 national championship team with Craig Krenzel at Purdue.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
For Holy Buckeye.
Yeah. So mine is with Desmond and me and Desmond's brother, and I think a manager from Michigan. It was fun. It was fun to do, but and I would not have done it if it would have been a shitty punt. But this was I got into this one. It was supposed to go 40 yards down the field and out of bounds, but it didn't. It was a shot.
Oh,
Then you had to try to tackle them, and that just
yeah,
Or like-
even though you can't say at least our kickers now and punters actually can tackle, because I mean, if you remember, Sean, like if you watch the game in Washington, like Jaden Fielding tackling was funny AF.
some of those punters, they're former linebackers. I mean, they get down and hammer people, but Fielding just kind of got ran over, or our punter just kind of got ran over. So
I did tackle Andre Hastings in the Citrus Bowl against Georgia
wow, that guy made it to the pros.
on a kickoff. Yeah, I think he played. Who did he play for? The Steelers?
Yeah.
Dave would remember that.
Yeah.
That was probably my best tackle.
Yeah, like Tim, I'm not gonna lie. When you talk about like teaching kickers and punters, I bring that up because everybody in Buckeye Nation gonna be like, hire Tim to coach the kickers and punters. I know.
Well, I mean, Dave and I got to know Coach Keys. I got to know Coach Keys during the Jackson Corville process. I mean, him and Tim Hinton, both. I've known Tim Hinton for years.
They are.
So we had nice conversations down there, and I told him, I said,
too.
"What's
Great
that?"
guys. They're great guys.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully,
They're working hard.
they have my cell.
Yeah, but no, I just bring that up because I know for a fact Buckeye fans will be like, please, Tim, come help our sister. I know for a fact that's how everybody is because everybody complains about it for so long. But for good reason, though, because it's like we should be much better than this. And it's like, and everybody complains about our special teams unit as a whole because it's like, hold on, we got the athletes. We got capable kickers. Like, we got all it takes for our special teams to be a weapon. Why special teams not a weapon is how everybody just asks that question. So to see them start taking it more seriously now, like, than what they were before. Now, 2019, 2020, we were still taking it seriously. But 21 to 23, we stopped taking it, like, real seriously. Like, 24 is when we kind of started because, like, the punts got better. The punt blocking as well as like our field goals. Again, I give Fielding a pass somewhat because of his injury to his hip, but that's why everybody's just because they're like special teams should be so much better than what it is.
Yeah, I think a big part of that, Coach Meyer put such a big emphasis on special teams.
Him and Trussell.
9 units and all that. He was maniacal about special teams.
Him and Trussell, like, and that's why everybody loved him.
Absolutely, Coach Trussell.
Because it's like special teams can cost you a game if you ain't careful.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2002, Andy Groom and Mike Nugent were such weapons. I mean, they don't win the Natty without those guys.
No. And what's really cool about having done this, I mean, I know all those guys. Andy, I mean, it's kind of like a big fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
I just actually was texting Andy a couple weeks ago. But we all stay in touch. Dan Stoltz was one of my favorites.
Okay.
But yeah, Andy was a stud. I mean, it was a walk-on. He was a walk-on, which is really, really cool. And he ended up getting the opportunity. But yeah, those guys were good. There's no doubt.
Oh, I loved when he called Mark May out after they won the title. So, I mean, Mark May kept ripping on him and said they weren't going to win and kept dogging Ohio State. Andy Groom's like, come.
Well, Mark May.
National championship ring, So
You know for a fact Mark May is still salty about Ohio State beating his alma mater Pitt 72-0. Like, just
right.
We beat him our senior year, 63-28? And it was
he's still mad about that.
I think it was 63-0.
Yeah.
Before they scored, and then they scored on our third string, I think.
Best part about that game is we had just hired a new recruiting coordinator at Ohio State that senior year.
Yeah.
And his previous stop was Pitt. And so he had just come from Pitt for a few years. We go there, and I'll never forget in the locker room celebrating after the game and handing out game balls. And I think it was Jason Simmons. Hey, Coach Petroff, game ball for Coach Petroff. Thanks for recruiting those guys.
Larry Petroff.
Yeah.
Wow. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Too funny.
That really is funny. But like I said, the people, like, at least for Ohio State, it does say this. You know, you're the best because you get hated on the most, and for the right reasons. Unlike certain people up north.
So how old, TC? Or TG? How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. Okay, so you
Yeah.
look 23. You definitely look younger, which is good,
Hey, look, your guy
and
right the
a lot cuter than Sean. But
Yeah,
Sean, how old are
yeah, I
you?
get that. Hey, I'm 46, and I remember that '93 team was one of my favorite teams. I was
Okay.
a freshman in high school, so
Where'd you go to
When I
high
was a
school?
kid,
I went to.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was a kid, I tell the story all the time. Like when I started watching, at first we didn't have the sports packages, so I couldn't like watch the current sports until they got it. But what made them get it was me going and watching all the old school stuff because that's what like got me in watching old school college football, old school NFL, old school NBA and college basketball, like all old school sports. Because you know they would put on these little cartoons, obviously for us kids, and I would turn on. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna watch that later. And then I start watching that, and then you get the current sports packages. And when I started like watching Ohio State's what got me into college football, and then I just started like following from that point forward. Even like going as so far as going to the past and looking up like all kinds of former players, all these teams, their histories, and everything. So it's like I'm such a nerd to a point where it's like, yeah, I know who a lot of y'all are because I've seen y'all. Even if I didn't get to watch you live in person, I managed to get a chance to watch you guys back in the day. For y'all,
You're the
Oh,
right
where,
TG.
TG? Where did you go to high school?
I went to Butler College Prep.
Okay, and then Sean, you were Cyrus.
No, I went to Danbury High School. I'm right by Sandusky.
Okay,
Oh
I got you.
yeah.
We were a small, very small town. We were Division 6, so I had to play both ways in high school. So we had probably
How did you guys link up to do this show? Just out of
um
curiosity.
we were on a different podcast, and TG called in on one of the call-in shows, and I was on a different. I had a show with a different co-host, and that co-host quit, and we got her to come on, and Eric asked us to come over here, and we just started coming over here. We came over here, and we decided to start the show. And I had a bunch of players that I reached out to, former players. Like I reached out to you Tim, and people said, "Yeah, we'll come on," and just kind of just started from there.
You've had some pretty stellar guests.
Yeah, Robert
Yeah,
Smith, Keith Byers, uh, Tim
yeah.
Anderson was our first
Oh
one, and
yeah, he was our first. I mean, he actually is a co-host of ours. Now he's not gonna come on all the time, but when he does have the time, he'll come on and help us like discuss games and stuff,
Yeah.
which is absolutely awesome.
but I got a lot. I got Doug Donnelly on, which played for us,
Nice.
which was cool because he was actually played in the Clemson game when Woody punched the kid
Yeah.
and got
Yeah,
fired. Then he was on
and
the
him
plane.
telling that story was the funniest thing in the
Oh, I
world
can
too.
imagine.
Oh, Woody
I was gonna
told
go
him the
back and
reason why
watch that.
Woody told him the reason why he punched that kid is because that kid's great grandfather killed his great grandfather in the Civil War. So Doug
Yeah,
goes, I
we
think it was
had
time for Woody to go. I think he was starting to lose his mind a little bit. But
Oh God.
we also had Greg Frey. We had
Greg
Wells.
Fry,
Right.
I'm
Greg,
sorry, Finks.
Greg played
So
with
so
him.
so Greg was 88, 89, and 90.
Yeah,
And between Dave and Greg, those are the two guys that I talk to on a very regular basis. Greg and I have a lot in common because he trains quarterbacks. I don't know if he went into that or told you about that or
A
not.
little
Or
bit. He basically broke down Julian. We
yeah.
were
yeah,
actually supposed to have Matt Finkus on, and he couldn't come on, and we had Greg and Tim Anderson come on and basically talk about the Texas game. And I didn't get a chance to really break down all of Greg's career. So I mean,
Greg's
Yeah, he
fantastic.
said when
great
he has
dude.
the opportunity, he will come back on the show and we get to like break him down fully, which would be awesome. And honestly, I did have a lot of questions because one of my favorite games watching him was the comeback against Minnesota. I think you know what I'm talking about, Sean. That game was amazing. I'm like,
That was my red shirt year. That was my
ooh,
red shirt year.
No,
Uh, that game, and then also the year before that, when Tommy Hodson came in with
LSU.
LSU, and that was I was there as a recruit for that game.
I actually watched that game last night. I got a question for you. Do you remember a manager named Mark Lambert? He was the defensive back manager, black hair.
If
You
I
might,
saw his face.
He might have been. He comes in the chat all the time, or he's in our chat, and he was a manager from 2 years for Earl's last 2 years, and I think 2 years under Cooper. So I don't know if
So he would have been older when I was younger.
yeah.
Now, as we got older, I started hanging out with the managers.
Now, did
They
you
had what was it, Matt, and Pat. I think they went to the what was your big reggae fest? What was it? Reggae.
Yeah,
Hey,
reggae fest.
The reggae fest that Dave was in a Kappa Sig, right?
Yeah.
That's about the extent of my memory right there. But there was some stories about the managers. Man, they were hysterical. Boomer, remember Boomer?
Boomer, Pat Lyons, that's who that was.
Yeah.
Those guys
Honestly, if you go and like listen to interviews, I hear former players talk about it and how funny these managers were. It was like, oh man, at some point I want to interview these managers that they had and just try to see.
Oh, the stories they can tell. Oh,
Yes.
I think they took the van one night, didn't they? They took the van. I think it was the night of the reggae fest.
Coconut, well, that's Mark, but he goes by Coconut, and that's a screen name. He told us that he used to go and before the game, he'd take his Ohio State stuff off and just be in regular street clothes, and he'd go out and take the coaches' tickets and go scalp the coaches' tickets, and they give him half the money, come back, get dressed for the game, and
That's awesome.
When I was
That's
watching that LSU game that you were talking about against Tommy Hobson, and when Bobby Olive scored that touchdown at the end, I actually saw Coconut run on the field and jump in the pile, then he ran off. So I was like, holy crap, there you were. So
cool. So cool.
What's your favorite game of all time of your career that you played in? If you had one game to pick, what do you think is your favorite game that you played in?
Dave, you go first.
Penn State was fun. That was their first year in the Big Ten. It was snowing that morning, so we ended up winning 24-6, so we got 4 kicks. So that was fun. I think that Wisconsin game, 13-13 tie, was it?
Yeah, 13-13 tie.
Last year before overtime, so that was the last tie in Ohio State history. That was just because the intensity of that game was so cool.
Yeah.
I'd say those two come to my mind. I don't know. I might be missing something. I think they were all awesome, to be honest with you.
For me, it was probably that one of my favorites was the second game at Boston College. Getting the opportunity to hit from 52. I was kind of like I looked at that as like my arrival.
Yeah.
Right. Second game of my career. I just missed a 21-yarder the week before. And the fact that Coach Cooper trusted me enough to go out and try a 52, and I made it. That was big. I mean, that was a big game for me. The Penn State game was pretty memorable because, we got to play against Joe Paterno. There was something that happened in that game that was crazy. I come out for the second half, and I don't have my kickoff tee. So I know better than to go to Coach Cooper and say, hey, Coach, I have no idea where my kickoff tee is. I didn't say anything. I just went out on the field, and Tim Patillo, number 21, he was one of our sprint men, and the official handed me the ball, and I said, listen, I don't have my tee, but I'm going to use one of my players. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. So I had him prop his toe up, and I put the ball on top of his toe and put his finger. I said, here's where I want you to hold this ball. And he held the ball on his toe. Then I went over to the equipment managers and told them, I said, I don't no idea where my kickoff tee went. But that was pretty funny because I think Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy did that game. And they zoomed in like a play or two later and said, this isn't something you see every day. This is – I have pictures of it. I took pictures of it. I sent it to Timmy. That was pretty funny. I don't know, Dave, did you know that happened?
Oh,
yeah, I remember that. I remember you also Minnesota, you forgot your cleats.
Yeah, I forgot my shoe at Minnesota. That was in 91. That was the year that I punted and was scared to death to say anything to Coach Pausick. Now, Coach Pausick was my favorite assistant coach, the entire time I was there. And people would refer to Coach Pausick to me as Dad. Hey, Tim, Dad wants you. Your dad wants you. Go see what Coach Pausick and I had a great relationship. So I tried everything. I called my mom and dad. My mom and dad for 4 years didn't miss a game, home or away. Um, I called my mom and dad, and I'm like, "Is there any way that you could get to a sporting goods store to get a Copa?" And it was a driving snowstorm. I mean, it was in Minneapolis that day, and there was no chance of that. So I get to the locker room, and I thought, well, I'll just kick barefooted. So I go out. Again, I wasn't going to say anything, Coach Pausick. So I go out to start warming up barefoot, like with just my sock on.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Pausick asks, "What are you doing?" Coach, I forgot my shoe in Columbus. So he looks at John Berger, which this was classic. John Berger was a kid that went to high school with Kirk Herbstreit, went to Centerville. He went to Texas A&M as a freshman and tried to kick there, and then he decided to transfer to Ohio State, and he thought he was going to take my job, and that wasn't happening. He was kind of he and I didn't get along great. In the end, I think we ended up just fine, but he looked at John Berger because John thought that he was going to be kicking. Coach Pausick says, "John, give Timmy your shoe." He was pissed. He was pissed. But, it is what it is. That was stupid. I still kick myself for that. I'm 54 and I still kick myself for that. Crazy.
Now, did you have a special kicking shoe that was squared at the point?
Not special. I mean, I wore the Adidas Copa,
Okay.
which at that time was the most popular soccer shoe in the world, and it was mostly because the shoe would bend. It like not how the toe would go up, but it would bend the other way. It was real flexible sole. Does that make sense? So you could point your toe easier, and it was soft. It was kangaroo skin leather. It molded to your foot. I was big on the shoe. I had to have the shoe, and I would. After that game, I started ordering 5 at a time. So I always had them. Live and learn.
You made sure you had at least a couple in your bag, didn't you? So you're never going to have that happen again.
What an idiot. But favorite, I don't know that I could say that I had a favorite game, like favorite moments. That 93 Illinois game when we went to their place, and because that 44 and 92, that was like a death. That was hard. That was very hard.
Yeah.
So to come back that next year and get that redemption kick meant the world to me. And it meant the world to me that guy right there was the one that held it for me.
I remember we talked a lot about that 44-yard miss from the year before, the week of that Illinois game, and then to go out and kick 2 field goals. There were reasons why. I don't like to blame stuff on anybody, but the time that I didn't have with Herbstreit played a role in that, and that hit hard. That hit hard. Eddie, I guess, did a special where he talked about that game, that Illinois game in '92, and so anyway, but yeah, Illinois was pretty special. The Wisconsin, that last extra point against Wisconsin to tie it. It was so freaking cold. I couldn't feel. I mean, I trusted in everything I did and everything he did, but I still had to look up to make sure that thing went in because I don't know that I necessarily felt it hit my foot. It was that cold.
Like kicking like a rock, solid rock.
Yeah.
It was just
really when it's cold, it's hard to kick because it's like you don't even know if you're. Sometimes it's either too hard to a point feels like you kicked a rock or you just don't feel nothing at all.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was bad. I don't know. I mean, it was moments for me. It wasn't so much games.
But that 93 team, I mean, honestly, that's the team that kind of set everything in motion for Ohio State to get back to, its winning ways. I mean, you guys.
I think we were.
I think Ohio State always had his winning ways.
We were ranked,
competing for national titles.
Yeah.
Were we ranked as high as number 3 that year? Is that?
Yeah. And then we tied.
We were ranked 3rd in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened in that Michigan game, guys?
I don't know, but
I was just like, man, didn't see that coming.
28-0.
28.
If I would have scored in that game, I was told this later. I didn't know this. Tim May told me this. If I would have scored in that game against Michigan in '93, I would have been the only player in Ohio State history to score in every game he played in.
Huh.
Nobody else had ever done that before.
Wow.
28-0 didn't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Dang.
Just, I mean, you guys were so good that year, and I just
And Michigan wasn't that good.
no, they weren't. It was like just a total
You got to
shock.
give credit. They prepared so well. We were still running that play action bootleg. Joey was the only receiver in pattern throwing the post, and they got two guys waiting for it. It worked in game 3. It worked in game 6. But Michigan scouted us so well, and they played very good.
Well, when you think about it, for scum for Michigan, Ohio State's their Super Bowl, so
Yeah, and it was that year because I think they were 6-5 going into that game, something like that.
Yeah, they weren't good.
Yeah, they were.
So that was, and they played way above their pay grade that day.
I mean, Raymond had such a great year that year, and I mean,
Yeah. You know what they would say too, because I think like because every former player Cooper we always talk to, especially Wargo, always says like one of the things that always got to the team was the pressure of beating Michigan. Like the constant pressure was just something they couldn't quite handle. Now, again, this is what Wargo says.
So that week, I'll be honest with you. I mean, you talk about favorite moments. That week every year was so much fun. I mean, it was fun. It was everything meant just a little bit more. I absolutely. What's that?
The band coming over. We get to do Script Ohio.
Yeah. But I relished in that. I absolutely loved that week, all 4 years. It was a blast. It really was. And from a pressure standpoint, yeah, it felt like its own season in a way. Mm-hmm. But man, I loved the heck out of it. I think I had a pretty decent 4 years against Michigan, me personally.
Just not everybody on offense and defense.
Yeah, I mean, just we needed to put it together, and we just couldn't. 92.
It's like what's happening. It's like what's been happening the past 4 years, and I think it's also because of a mental block. Because I think that always tends to be a thing. It's like when you got that much pressure, it's one thing, but I think when you have this constant mental block where you're just trying to figure it out, and you got so much pressure on your back, it really doesn't help. So it makes you overthink things that you should.
One thing that really pissed me off back then was, and still to this day, how when people talk about Coach Cooper, and they talk about him in a negative way, and boy, I just get angry. I do. I am not quiet about it, and
understandable.
Because I take up for the guy. Jimmy Crum back in the day was calling for Coach Cooper to be fired. I called Jimmy one day at his desk, and I said, Jimmy, it's not Coach Cooper, it's the players. Mm-hmm. The players have to execute. He's got all the pieces of the puzzle. He's not the one on the field. Complain. If you want to complain about the players because they're the ones not executing. But Coach Cooper needs to be exactly where he's at. He doesn't need to go anywhere. And that always got to me. I
will say this. Sorry, Sean, but I will say this. I think because I always say this when it comes to football, coaching matters just as much as the players. Because you could be a great talent, but if you got terrible coaching, it's not going to work, no matter how good you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. I say this like about Caleb Williams currently. Like, he's a good quarterback, got great talent, but he never got developed by Lincoln Riley properly. Or I'm looking at a guy like Bryce Underwood right now. Like, I think the kid got tremendous talent, but he's not going to get coached right. Or Dylan Raiola, who's got tremendous talent as a quarterback. You're not getting coached right. You got a lot of these kids in today's day and age that are greatly talented, but are they getting developed by their coaches properly? Is always the question. Like, you look at Ohio State, they get the reputation they do because of how they develop players. Like, the coaches know, like, yeah, we got great players, and trust me, these players know they got to go out and execute on the field. But these coaches got to set them up for success and develop them on how they're supposed to do their job and how to do it as well. It's the same with Nick Saban during his time at Alabama, LSU, and even Michigan State. And even what Kirby Smart was doing is doing at Georgia. Like, for as much nonsense as he has going on right now with that program, he still develops good players. The only issue is his receivers, where you can actually blame them for not catching the ball. Like, I think they get taught properly. It's just that they're not making the catches. So it's like you have these players who are great, But it's like if they're not getting the proper coaching, like what you see at Bama with Saban, or here at Ohio State from what you see with Tressel, Urban, Cooper, Day, Woody Hayes and them, or what you're seeing from like Kirby Smart do at Georgia, or what you saw Urban do at Florida with the talent he had with guys like Percy Harvin and them. Like if they're not getting the proper coaching, it doesn't matter how talented they are. It never matters. You better get the proper coaching
and put them in the right spots to succeed.
Mhm.
That's one thing Patricia's doing this year for the defense. I mean,
That's why I love the defense right now. I love Patricia, and like I said, Sean, I called it.
you did.
DG's, you're not normal. I love the fact you're into this much.
No, she's not.
That's impressive.
Hey,
You're definitely in the right profession.
I hope whoever you end up marrying can handle you, because they won't know more about the game than you do. I can promise you that.
Okay,
hey,
guys,
I love it.
I love to ask all the players. Who's the best athlete you played with, and who's the best athlete that you played against? Or you can name a couple if you want.
All right, I can speak to the best that I played with, and it's a group of guys. And the reason I say that is I've told kids I've coached growing up, I've told my own boys. The thing that surprised me the most, once Tim and I are out there and he gets me out there and we're practicing, the thing that surprised me the most was that the biggest names and the biggest stars were the hardest workers. And so I'm thinking Joey Galloway, Robert Smith, Eddie George, Raymond Harris, Roger Harper. These guys they practiced for 2.5 hours, and they would be going head to head in wind sprints at the end of the practice like their life depended on them. And I was just shocked by that, because I thought these guys are just supremely talented. They roll the ball out there, and they're just better than everybody. They worked harder, and that was the most impressive thing to me. So those guys were a notch above, not just because they were so talented, because they worked so hard.
No, against.
Simeon Rice and Kevin Hardy were at Illinois.
Yeah, that was a tough Illinois game.
Who else?
So mine for at Ohio State would be Eddie George. Just because. I mean, the guy transformed. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner, and there's a reason for that.
Well, Tim, you
Exactly
were also there when he had his low moment where he fumbled a couple times, and he even talked about that. He thought about transferring, and he went, instead of sulking, he went and worked his butt off, and you got to see all that.
True story. The week after that Illinois game in '92, we didn't plan it. We ended up at the same place for lunch 3 times that week. And we talked a lot about it. And it was almost like it was meant to be, right? I mean, it was weird. As far as the played against, I mean, man, Drew Bledsoe was awful fun watching. We played Washington State in '91. That was a blast. The guy had a cannon. Now, we whooped him, but to see a guy that big and hurl it that hard, I mean, he could throw the ball.
Well, there's a reason he's the #1 draft pick,
Yeah. I don't think, Dave, you were on the team at that
I wasn't. I remember the game, though.
They also had Jason Hansen, who was probably the best kicker that I played against.
Yeah.
He was a first-team All-American place kicker, first-team All-American punter. And he was a good guy, and that was the best part about it.
He kicked for Detroit for many years, man.
Yeah. One of the best ever.
You know what they always say, like, because you brought up how, like, the best players that you've been with are the hardest workers. I mean, that's how it's always been. And I think that when your best players are your hardest workers, I think it does send a message to everybody, because that's what helps create a better culture, is when your best players are your hardest workers. Like, we've seen that currently with Marvin, with currently Jeremiah, and a lot of our other Caleb Downs, a lot of our other best players. When you have that and you have this culture that you've built, it makes it so much better, because you got the right guys who may be the best players, but they work hard, and it influences everybody else. Hey, if the best player working hard, I need to stop stepping up my game now.
Yeah,
is what they all say.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can tell I'm an offensive guy. I'd be remiss if I didn't include Lorenzo Styles, Mike Vrabel, Matt Finkus, and Luke Fickell in that group too, because they were on the
Yeah.
other side of the ball though. But those guys, same way.
They were
He's
best
a
friends
friendly
too.
kid right now, man.
So
Yeah.
some people don't realize, Sonny Styles' dad Lorenzo was one bad dude when he played.
Yes,
He was.
Oh,
He
bro,
was a
when
bad man.
that
but he
dude
still
would
is.
mess you up.
He
would
was the
mess
kind
you
of guy. He was the kind of guy that you didn't want to piss off. Like everyone else, you kind of knew. I mean, Steve Tovar was there for a while, but Lorenzo he kind of hit different. You
Yeah.
didn't want to. Just something about that dude, man, scared the crap out of me, and I played with him.
Pride of
was good.
Farrell, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Did you play with Alonzo Spellman? That dude.
Oh boy. Yeah. So Alonzo was in my class.
Okay.
Alonzo, the fun thing that I used to do with Zoe was anytime family would come up, he was 6'6", I'm 5'9",
Mm-hmm.
and I would have him stand up right next to me and put his arms down, and then I would put my arms down, and his arms hung lower than mine did. I mean, the guy was a freaking specimen,
He was.
and his fingers were that long. I swear.
Woo, geez.
He was related to Julius Erving, Dr. J. I was on the same recruiting visit as him, and you just couldn't get used to looking at that guy. I mean, he was a freak.
He was a monster, man. I mean,
Man, like when you think about it, you see a lot of these specimen, you're like, Jesus Christ, what planet did y'all come from?
Yeah, he
Dave,
wasn't
when you
normal.
told that story about going up against Big Daddy, I felt for you, man. I'd been like, I would have just dropped the ball, went the other way.
I should have.
I'm like, shoot, my whole season flashed in front of my eyes. I'm like, seriously?
I'm trying to earn my strength.
Oh boy.
Hey, man, you can tell everybody, hey, I went head to I played hamburger with the #1 pick.
He didn't back down. I tell you what, when Dave tells you that he went at him, he went at him. But
There's nowhere else to go.
It didn't
Other
look,
than that way.
the same. It didn't look the same as if Raymond Harris was going at it.
Hey, I give you much respect, man, that you just went for it, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was. I tell you, I mean, having him there with us, it made my career at Ohio State. Like, it meant that much to me. It was very special, to say the least. And the fact that we're still today, still very good friends, and I get to see him when I go up to Akron from time to time. And
this is what sports is all about, the bond that you make, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
my friends I played high school ball with, we're still best friends, and we still talk to each other. It's just you form a bond. I mean, you guys, you got a lifelong friend out of it, man.
Here's a cool story. So Dave's son was at Youngstown State a few weeks ago. He plays for Robert Morris, and so he and his wife and family, his mom Kathy was there, and so my daughter Bailey plays soccer at Youngstown State. So she calls me, and I'm like, "You're at the game?" I'm like, "Hold on a minute." So I set this up. I called Dave, and I said, "Dave, I'm going to give you Bailey's number. Bailey, I'm going to give you Dave's number. I want you," because Bailey's never met Dave before.
Okay.
So Dave ended up sending me a picture. Bailey went over and she spoke to Dave and his family. That was the coolest thing in the world for me. It's that kind of stuff.
Well, I knew she was coming, but the second she showed up in our section, it wasn't hard to tell whose daughter she was.
She gets her dad's skills. She's playing college soccer, right?
Exactly. And tearing it up, too.
Doing well. She's doing well.
My friend's daughter got a full ride basketball going there. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Neat school. Neat town.
He told me that the facilities at Youngstown State was better than Miami of Ohio. So.
I don't know about the indoor. The indoor facility is pretty freaking nice at Miami.
But he said,
I don't know.
well, he thought they liked it
from a basketball perspective.
Yeah, maybe as a basketball player.
So,
Yeah.
well, guys, I hate to cut it short, but I do have to
Actually, it's about time we do end it because we're like at an hour 14.
I don't know what kind of time you guys usually do, but this was a blast.
Hey, guys, thank you for coming on. Honestly, if you guys got an open invitation, you guys want to do it again, We'd love to have you back, man.
It's so nice to be a part of it. We really appreciate it. You guys
Yes,
keep up
thank
the good
you.
work.
Before you guys go, do you guys got any anything you want to plug before you go? Anything you want to promote? Any businesses, or feel free to.
I appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm good.
no,
Dave,
thanks
you?
again.
Go ahead. Up and through. Tim, like we talked about it, but yeah, Tim's kicking.
I train kickers and punters. If anyone wants, training, I train every Sunday. You figure out how to get a hold of me.
All right, cool. On Facebook.
Upandthrough.com.
You have my number. You feel free to pass it out.
Okay, cool. Thanks again, guys. We
So nice
appreciate
to meet both of you.
it. Pleasure.
All right.
was
Nice
ours.
to meet you guys too, man.
Thank you,
Hey,
guys.
everybody, please check out our next show tomorrow on at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. So, as we always go, OH.
I
I
know.
know.
The Bucks and
Thanks, guys.
some still sucks.